2012-13 Financial Review Bill, first reading.
This bill is set down for second reading next sitting day. I call on Government Order of the Day number 2.
Land Transport Amendment Bill, first reading.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Land Transport Amendment Bill 2013 be now read a first time. I further nominate that the Transport Industrial Relations Committee consider the bill. Mr. Speaker, the bill aims to address the harm and social cost caused by drunk drivers in New Zealand. Each year, drunk drivers are responsible for an average of 61 deaths and 244 serious injuries, with a social cost amounting to almost $450 million. The bill will amend the Land Transport Act 1998. The Land Transport Act provides for a range of functions relating to land transport, including specifying the adult drink driving limits. Mr. Speaker, the main purpose of the Land Transport Amendment Bill is to reduce the legal drink driving limits. The adult breath alcohol limit will be reduced from 400 micrograms of alcohol per litre of breath to 250 micrograms. The blood alcohol limit will reduce from 80 milligrams of alcohol per 100 millilitres of blood to 50 milligrams. The bill will also put in place infringement offences for drivers who fall between the new and old limits. Consequential amendments to regulations will set the penalty at an infringement fee of $200 and 50 demerit points. The Government is committed to improving road safety for New Zealanders. We have had the Safer Journeys road safety strategy in place since 2010. Safer Journeys has a vision which is to make roads safe and our system of roading safe, so it is increasingly free of death and serious injuries. Driving under the influence of alcohol was identified as an area of high concern. The Government has already taken a number of measures to address drink driving, including lowering the drinking driving limits to 0 for drivers under the age of 20 years and making alcohol interlocks available for repeat drunk drivers and first-time drunk drivers with a high alcohol level. In March this year, my associate, the Honourable Michael Woodhouse, released the second Safer Journeys Action Plan that sets out the Government's intent to make decisions on drink driving limits before the end of this year. After considering the results of research commissioned by Cabinet in 2010 and other advice, the Government has moved quickly to introduce this bill to the House. We expect the lowering of the adult drunk driving limit to send a clear message that consuming alcohol at high levels and then driving is unacceptable. We believe this will save lives. Officials have estimated that conservatively an average 3.4 lives will be saved and 64 injuries prevented each year. This will mean a net benefit of $200 million over 10 years and, sir, I would say too, the reduction of a huge amount of misery for families who are so affected. Over recent years, public attitudes have changed markedly over what drunk driving limits should be. The number of recent public surveys and stakeholder engagement has indicated support for lowering adult drink driving limits. This further demonstrates the positive public reaction to the Government's announcement. Mr. Speaker, any government doing this thinks carefully about the sanctions that should apply when you are bringing in a new offence. The $200 infringement fee, and especially the 50 demerit points for those who fall between the new and old limits, provide a strong deterrent without criminalising behaviour which is currently not criminalised. And it is not a soft option. Any driver who accumulates more than 100 demerit points from driving offences within 2 years receives a 3-month driver's licence suspension. While the bill does not change the penalties that apply above the existing limits, the Government has not forgotten that drivers with a very high blood alcohol limit and recidivist drivers are a significant part of the problem. Therefore, in addition to the decision to lower the legal drinking limit, the Government has initiated a comprehensive review of the sanctions that apply to drunk driving offences over the current limits. The review will be undertaken in 2014 and we would expect to take some action post that review. The bill also provides, as I said before, a higher infringement fee of $500 and 50 demerit points for drivers who fail or refuse to undergo an evidential breath test in order to circumvent the results of that test. This is a decision which has not been taken lightly, and I expect it will be an issue the Select Committee will need to carefully consider. Mr Speaker, the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee is currently considering a members' bill from Scott Simpson MP that seeks to address the problem where drivers can avoid prosecution because blood cannot be drawn from them for medical or physical reasons. In order to close this loophole, the government bill proposes to introduce a rebuttable presumption. This would apply to a driver who's escaped prosecution in the past due to an inability to provide a blood sample. If the driver was apprehended on a subsequent occasion and again fails to provide a blood sample, the presumption would be that they were refusing the evidential blood test because they knew of the likely outcome. They would be able to rebut that or challenge that presumption in court. Mr Speaker, in closing, the changes proposed by this bill demonstrate the government's determination to improve road safety for all New Zealanders by reducing drink driving. Mr Speaker, I acknowledge that there is great interest from all sides of the House in this bill. I commend it to the Transport and Industrial Relations Select Committee and know that there are others who will have a great deal of interest in providing very significant input to what eventually will become a bill the House can pass. Thank you.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Speaker.
I call the honourable member Ian Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much.